Hi everyone. In this video, we will look into a way to automatically delete files or folders that we no longer need using PowerShell. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because, like most of us, I have a downloads folder which piles up with basically garbage all day, coming from various sources. And I also have, apart from the default downloads folder, which as you can see has like from 2016 stuff. I also have a um, custom download folder, which is mapped to Google Chrome only. And apart from these two, I also have a temporary stuff folder for my daily work junk, which I keep on my desktop. And all of these three folders accumulate data. So my plan is to create a mechanism that will automatically clean up the stuff, the files or folders that are older than a particular period of time, which I will define from my machine. Okay, so enough with the talking. Let's get started. I'm using PowerShell for this mechanism, and I just opened the default IDE for PowerShell, which is ICE on Windows. And we are working with is 5.1. And to quickly show that, we can reference the host object and the version property. Okay, so for the plan, the first step would be to grab in an array the three folders that we are targeting to clean up their path, and then loop through these three directories and identify the candidate files or folders that will be deleted. Then do the actual deletion, maybe do some logging. And the final step would be to create a basic Windows task scheduler task to automatically run this PowerShell script and do the cleanup. Okay, so let's name it target directories. This should be an array that will contain three directories. First of all, the downloads, which is this guy, properties. Okay, and downloads. And then the next one is my particular custom downloads folder, which is this one. And the final one would be the one I have on the desktop, which is this one. And I named it temporary stuff. Okay, I can just zoom out or actually get rid of this panel. Okay, now the next step, we can define an empty array, oops, that will eventually hold the files or folders to be deleted. And now let's do a loop through the list of directories that we previously defined, target directories, and for each of these folder, let's do a items that will incrementally add files or folders based on what? Based on a selection, and to identify files or folders within a folder, we can use the get child item commandlet, and we specify a path, which would be the current directory, one of the three, and then we do some filtering. We pipe it and we do the filtering where object and the condition we want, I mean, the criteria to delete would be something older than, let's say, a month. So if I'm not using a file or a folder um, in the recent 30 days or recent month, then I'm assuming I don't know, I don't need it. At least this applies to my case. Should be used with caution. So let's see. For the current item, we do we access the last write time property, and we say that we want this to be less than, and we want to get the current date, get a date, and minus, so we subtract 30 days. We can do this actually with the add days function or method, and we will go back 30 days. Okay, and this would be the part where we identify the candidate files. Let's see if this works. We just, for the current moment, to write to the PowerShell console the content of the items. Actually, let's do it outside the loop, and we can save this as clean garbage files. Okay, let's run it. Okay, so these are the files that will be eventually deleted. They look, I mean, the output is linear, and we can address this in a minute. Okay, let's go further. Now that we have the complete list of items to be deleted, we can go ahead and remove them. And for that, we need another for each loop where we loop through the actual items. Oops. And let me just get rid of this. And the commandlet to remove the item is remove item. And we want to pass in the item full name. And full name, that means we are giving it a path and a file name. We identify it by the full path name. And we also want to use the force and recurse options because um, we want to remove all of the files within the folder, no matter if the folder has subfolders and the subfolders have subfolders subsequently, so all of the files. Okay, let's see if this works at this step. So let's do a quick check again. For example, on my desktop, on my temporary stuff, I have at least I have 4 for candidate files here. Let's see how this goes. Okay, so no output this time. And again, moving to the temporary stuff, we have the garbage cleaned up, and then to the downloads, we see that the files were cleaned up as well. Okay, looks good. So the next step, um, to maybe add some logging. So let's do that. First, let's define a log output path, which I will define on my I will define it on my temporary stuff folder. And even though I'm cleaning up this temporary stuff folder and I'm logging it, logging the output there, the actual log will never be deleted because we will always overwrite it, like so. Okay, so we have this output path, and let's define a deleted items variable, which will be default um, a blank character, blank space, and which each item we want to increment it with the item name, and we also want to suffix this with a carriage return so that we have um, each each file name under the next one. Okay, and for the final output, we can do something like, in case we have deleted items, so that is not empty, that variable, we can do a log like, let's say, the garbage files deleted today. And we can also define a current date variable, which will be set as get date in the format of, let's say, the year and the month and the day, sorry, and hour, minutes, and seconds. Okay, so the garbage files deleted today, and we can add the current date here variable. Okay, and we can append the log with the actual deleted items variable and also carriage return. And we can append the log again with, let's say, some uh, dashes, so that we have like a separator for the files each day, and we can multiply this with 100, so we'll have a line at the end of the batch, a line of dashes, 100 dashes. And let's also add a carriage return here. And then what we want to do with this is to deliver it to a final output path, which would be in the form of log output path, and we want to say, let's say, deleted files, garbage deleted file log, and it should be a text file. Okay, so let's see if this works. And to do this, we first need to copy some of the files back. So I have like a backup of the temporary stuff folder, and I will copy the files we previously deleted. Well, not all of them, but you got the point. And also on that particular one, okay, skip a bunch of them, and let's just run the script again. So the script should also log the files that we just deleted. Okay, it will not log the files here, but on the temporary stuff folder on my desktop. Okay, so yeah, garbage deleted files log. Let's open this. Actually, it opened here. The garbage files deleted today. Okay, now we have to add the carriage return here as well. Okay, and 100 dashes here. Okay, let's do an update here. And something to note here is that we are using the append to the file functionality, and we are not overwriting the log file, so that if we run this again, let's see, let's recopy and retest. Skip these files. Okay, run, and let's recheck the log. We can close this and open it again. Okay, so the first iteration here, and then we have the separator, and then the next iteration here. Okay, so it seems to be working. With the script successfully running, we need to create a task scheduler task, a task for it. And to do that, we open the task scheduler. We want to create a task. Let's name it clean garbage files. And we can give it a description. This task automatically deletes files or folders that are older than 30 days from this list of directories. And we can quickly add this here. Okay. The trigger would be, let's define a new trigger. I don't want to run this on a schedule, but I want to run it at startup. So each time I start up my computer, usually 1 or 2 days, um, I will get automatically clean up. Okay. And, or actually, well, it's okay. Let's define it as startup, or maybe we can define it at log on so that we can test we can test this. But finally, I will define it, the task to start at computer start. Okay, any user, and then the actions we want to do is to run a script, but actually run a program, which in this case is, of course, PowerShell. And the arguments to the program start are just the file that we created, or the script, and we can define it as so. So I save the file on my workspace here. So no, not this one, even though I strongly advise. Okay, properties. Okay, this path, and the name of the script is clean garbage files.ps1, which is the PowerShell files extension. Okay, and that's kind of what we want here. Okay, run only when user is logged on, of course, and we hit on save. Okay, so no run. Let's test this. Let's re-instantiate the files here. Okay, skip, and we can simulate the task execution by just right-clicking and running. Okay, and we can refresh this view. Actually, the last runtime is what we are looking. And now let's the downloads folder. It's cleaned up again, and also let's check the temporary stuff output log. Okay, it should have 3 iterations. So the first one, which doesn't have a carriage return, the second one, and of course the third one, which just ran and cleaned up. So that is the quick, or the way that I plan on cleaning up my my junk files and folders. I hope you enjoyed this, and if you did, please subscribe for more videos, and like this. And thanks for watching.